Good evening. I would like to call the school committee meeting for Monday, January 23rd, 2023 to order. We would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I would ask that at this time, if you have any cell phones, pages, electronic devices and such, if you would kindly either shut them off, put them on silent, or vibrate, would appreciate it. Roll call, please, Ms. Gunther.
John Nunes.
Yep.
Mary Waite. Here. Kathleen Amaral.
Here.
Shannon Jenkins.
Here.
Chris Oliver.
Here.
All right, thank you. At this point in time, we have allotted 10 minutes for public comment. So anyone has any comments? Here we go.
Okay.
Yep, right ahead.
Hello, my name is Deborah August, and I am a community member, parent of a graduate, 8-year math teacher at DHS, and a 28-year teacher. In August, my 92-year-old father was, maybe I won't be able to get through this, okay, was diagnosed with a terminal medical diagnosis. Steph, you here? I'm sorry.
With a terminal medical diagnosis, my family decided to support his wishes of spending his last time being cared for in my home while in hospice care. I immediately became his primary caregiver and made the incredibly difficult decision to take time off from my position. This was not taken lightly, as I am an AP calculus teacher, honors pre-calculus, and grade 9 algebra teacher. I sincerely appreciate the importance of establishing routines in the beginning of the year, but as all of us would agree, family comes first. Since I have never been faced with this type of situation, I assumed that I would be able to take my earned time off to care for my father and utilize a small portion of my 80-plus earned sick days under PFML leave. When I went to apply for PFML, I was surprised to learn that since I'm a part of a municipality, I did not qualify for paid time off. I was able to take the 5 weeks off needed to stabilize my father and ensure that he has adequate care while I am at work, but this time was unpaid. I could not use the days that I have earned through my years of great attendance at DHS. Although I was disappointed, I again decided family comes first. I returned to work as soon as I felt I could, and I continue to have late nights caring for my father, but I still come to work with a heavy heart, ready to teach. I calculated my missed pay recently, and those weeks off have cost me more than $7,500. Yet I still have 80 sick days that I have accumulated. Our membership is asking simply to be entitled to access our earned time to help support our family, similar to what private companies now provide to employees. The difference is we just want to use our earned time. Please consider making a change for these stressful times. I would like to say that I was treated with the utmost respect and kindness by Human Resources when discussing this concern. I really appreciated this because it was not easy to make this decision, even though it was the right one. This has been a difficult time for me and my family, and I appreciate the support I have received from my school community. I just hope that my experience can help make a change to support families in difficult situations. I am sorry, but I will be excusing myself from the rest of this meeting because I need to get home and take care of my father.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Stephanie Mello, and I am one of the district's substantially separate program teachers. I am here tonight to paint a picture of our special education teaching assistants. Now, I understand there isn't a delineation between special ed and regular ed TAs on paper. However, their jobs are vastly different. A day in the life of a program teacher consists of providing direct instruction under the guidance of a program teacher, supporting students in inclusion settings, following IEP accommodations, implementing behavior plans, taking data on IEP goals and behaviors, intervening in social situations, fostering friendships, navigating communication devices, providing sensory breaks, and helping with self-care, toileting, changing diapers, potty training, washing hands, brushing teeth, feeding, all for a $500 stipend. $500. I pause here for a little math for you. 180 days of school, 6 diaper changes, toileting opportunities per day per child, equals $1,080 per year. Again, one child. Now take that $500 and divide it by the 1,080 diapers. That equals 46 cents a toileting opportunity. That 46 cents is cut in half to 23 cents when you factor in potty training at 30-minute intervals throughout the course of the day. This math does not account for any of the other self-care tasks that our special education teaching assistants assist with. Our special education teaching assistants who work in programs must be CPI trained, crisis prevention intervention trained. They provide for the care, welfare, safety, and security of our children. Those are the 4 tenets under CPI training. That training helps us de-escalate our children and instructs us how to keep our children and selves safe when physical intervention is required. To be clear, physical intervention is sometimes required in our district. The special education teaching assistants who work within our programs that intervene when students are dysregulated may be slapped, punched, scratched, bitten, kicked, spit at, headbutted, hair pulled, and tripped by students. The students are not removed from our classrooms as they would be from a general education classroom. Instead, we help them regulate themselves, record the data, occasionally fill out a staff incident report for any injury we sustain, and continue working with those same students. We work with the district's most vulnerable population. I want to emphasize that the staff who work within our programs do so because they genuinely love the children and have dedicated years of their lives, both in district and out, to educate and support students with significant needs. The salary that is paid to these men and women is not commensurate with the responsibilities and duties for which they are assigned, the trainings in which they must participate in, nor the physical demands of their job. I am not saying that general education teaching assistants have it easy either. What I am saying is that they have 2 totally and different, distinct jobs. Our building could not run and would not function without the dedicated men and women who work for $19,033.56 to $26,193.44 a year. I urge you to consider the following. Not all teaching assistants have to do yearly training to keep up their certification. SPED TAs do. Not all teaching assistants have to go outside to recess daily and participate and support children in special areas: gym, health, art, music, library. SPED TAs do. Not all teaching assistants get the opportunity to sub on a regular daily basis, which puts additional money in their pockets. Regular ed TAs do. Not all teaching assistants get substitutes when they're absent. Special ed TAs do. Teaching assistants who have been here for 20 years are making the same pay as someone who came in on their first year on step 6. We are losing good people to other districts because of poor pay. Something needs to change, and it's time to properly compensate our teaching assistants and recognize that regular ed and special ed TAs both exist and do different jobs. Thank you for your time, and at the chair's discretion, I'd love to answer any questions you may have.
We don't have questions, Steph, during this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, before you start, I just want to let you know, you're going to be the last one because you'll have taken up your 10 minutes. Okay?
Okay. Thank you and good evening. My name is Vicki Cloutier. I am a first-year TA at Dartmouth High School. My family decided to relocate here to southeastern Massachusetts to be closer to our family. I hold a bachelor's degree in business administration. I also followed my passion to work with children. For the last 10 years, I have worked in the special ed as a TA. I recognize on a daily basis that a TA in special education is asked to perform many tasks that the majority of people would say, "You couldn't pay me to do that." Putting those feelings aside, I come to school every day determined to give the students that I work with a safe, supportive environment so that they can thrive as a student. Simply put, a TA does the job because we love these kids so much, and they deserve the best that our community can provide for them. I want to share with you some perspective. Prior to working here in Dartmouth, I worked in another district outside of state. I was fortunate to have a PPO. That district had an 80-20 split. When I looked at the PPO option here in Dartmouth, I quickly realized from the HR administrator that I would not be able to afford that PPO option with the salary being offered. In fact, I was told that there was a chance that I'd actually have to pay the town and work for free. So I opted for that high deductible HMO. And if I can just, on a side note here, explain that I have 2 children that are in college outside of New England. That HMO does not cover them. So I now have to pay for health and care for those 2 other children. My gross pay is $623.65 per week. When I add my high deductible HMO, the cheapest option, and my family dental, I pay $287.94 per week. That's 46% of my gross salary going toward health care. Remember that side note, I have 2 other children that I have to pay for health care for. I'm left with a net pay of a whopping $252.59 per week. In fact, that salary that I was offered here at Dartmouth puts me below the poverty level. We are asking for affordable health care and a livable wage. Thank you.
Dr. Jenkins?
So at the last meeting, we asked for the chance for the school committee members to make a few comments.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if we can do that now.
Yeah, we can. That's fine.
Is it all right if I start? All right. So I just want to say, I grew up in Chicago, and in Chicago, the school districts set their own taxes. They don't have to go to the towns. They set their own tax rate, and they set their own budget. I wish we had that power here in Dartmouth, because I don't think there's any person that is sitting at this table that doesn't recognize the hard work that all of our school employees do. But here in Dartmouth, the schools have to ask the town for money, and the town is limited to a budget increase of 2.5% per year. Right? We don't control, we ask, we don't control what we get from the town. Right now, if you were at the budget subcommittee hearing, we're asking for a 4.4% increase. We're not asking for anything additional for any of our schools. That's a level funded budget. So we're close to 2% over the increase in the town's increase in revenues. We're trying, we're asking. Every single one of us wants to do more, but we don't have more. And so all I would say is that I would hope that people would recognize that we are doing our best to balance the interests of the kids in our school who need services, who need teachers, who don't need teachers or teaching assistants, that have more children on their caseload, right? We're trying to balance those needs, and we're trying to do the best that we can. And I hope that we can move forward in a productive way where we're partners in improving Dartmouth schools and doing the best that we can to recognize our employees. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Oliver?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yeah, healthcare is the single most important and problematic issue that this town is facing. I have had the opportunity to serve in the Budget Subcommittee with Dr. Jenkins. I've had the opportunity to have conversations with some of our Select Board members. Unfortunately, the way Dartmouth's tax rate is, and I know everyone's tired of hearing that, but it's the simple truth, is that we cannot offer a split that's, feasible to what I think everyone here is looking for without significant cuts in this town. We've said it before, we'll say it again, or I'll say it again. The only way around this is an override. There needs to be an override in order for the town to compensate for a 40-60 split or any other type of split that, our staff is looking for. I agree, health insurance is out of control. It's completely out of control, and I wish that there was more power, there was more things that this committee could do. However, the facts are the facts. There's one bucket of money in the town, and unless the town, and I mean the entire town, is willing to do something about this, I don't see it changing. I wish it would. We're willing to continue, going to the plate for our employees because you deserve it. We're here to advocate for you and to advocate for fair health care. And I think the high deductible plan is certainly, that's one thing that I did not know. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, that it does not cover out-of-state costs for students. That's certain, I'm sorry? Outside of New England, okay. That is certainly something that I will certainly look and take back to the town administrator, because I think that is certainly problematic, especially when the school department's budget is definitely by far the largest portion of the town's budget. However, we have some of the lowest paid employees in town. So the town does need to recognize that. I think some people do in town. However, there's still more work to be done. So I thank you, I hear you, and we're trying.
Anybody else? You good?
Well,
Not necessary.
I was just
If you
going
have
to.
something that you're
Yeah.
more than welcome to.
I just, I'm not really going to get into it because I don't want to get emotional, but I just want to thank the folks for speaking respectfully and with dignity about the incredible care needs of our most vulnerable students. And I just appreciate you, and I thank you for sharing it with such respect and dignity. Thank you.
Ms. Wade?
No, I just, would echo everything that my colleagues have said and just say, I mean, our teachers, our staff, our students, they deserve so much more than what our town is giving them. And again, we're pushing as much as we can, and we will continue to do that. Again, it's unfortunate, and I think, we really have to convince, to echo my colleagues, the town as a whole. We need to get the message out. I mean, we're here, we're seeing you, but we need people to understand that, at our tax rate, we are limiting ourselves, and we're limiting, all the folks that are sitting here, and it's a real shame. And it's a scar on our, on us as a town. So I really hope that, we continue to do better, get the word out, and have people understand, the predicament that this tax rate is putting us in. So.
Thank you. And thank everyone for their comments. They are appreciated. All right, next on the agenda is approval of the regular and executive session minutes of January 9th. I'll take the regular session minutes first.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Waite.
Second.
Second by Mr. Oliver. On the motion, any discussion? Chair hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And the executive session minutes of the same night, January 9th, 2023.
I'll move with the usual stipulation that they be held until the matter for which they are intended is resolved.
All right, moved by Ms. Waite.
Second.
Second by Ms. Amaral. On the motion, any discussion? Chair hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right. Excuse me. Next on the agenda, for the first time this year, and we welcome our new student rep for our meeting tonight. Dallas?
Phoenix.
Phoenix,
Different
Dallas,
city.
Costa.
Phoenix Stella Costa. Hello, my name is
My
Phoenix
fault, I
Stella
read this one.
Costa. I'm a member of the Student Advisory Council. I'm enrolled in Dartmouth High School, class of 2023, senior this year. A member of the Dartmouth High School robotics team and the sailing team. For today's report, I don't have very much to say. I'm hoping to treat today as more of an observation session. It's my first meeting. I'm trying not to be too nervous, so just
Oh, you're fine.
figuring out the ropes. So term 3 is just kicking off. Students are expecting to see their report cards next Monday. Grades closed last Friday. So looking to be a good term 3 for Dartmouth High School.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phoenix.
Thank you.
Questions for
Thank you and
for
welcome.
Phoenix? Welcome.
Thank you.
What are your plans next year?
So next year, currently I'm hoping to go to college. Reach school at the moment is MIT. I'm expecting denial, as one should, applying to a school of such difficulty to
Yeah.
get admitted into. My top choice is the U.S. Coast Guard Academy,
Down in
which
New London, yeah.
also a bit of a reach school, but I think I have a much better shot at. And then from there, Rensselaer Polytech University
Yep.
and UMass Amherst already have been accepted, so that's an option.
Very good. Good luck
That's
to you.
great.
Thank you very
That's
much.
great.
That's
Good to
great.
hear.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. If the, Dr. Jenkins has asked, I have no problem with it. The rest of the committee, do we have an issue if we move the reopen discussion on the student advisory? If we just move that up while Phoenix is here, in case he has homework and things he wants to do, he can at least listen in on our discussion. And by the way, you are always welcome to stay, but we also understand that you have other commitments, mainly homework. So once you gave your report, if you needed to leave, you're more than welcome to leave. You're more than welcome to stay, but you're always, it's not an issue if you have to leave to finish up things that you need to get finished.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Jenkins?
So I'll just, reopen. I'm a political scientist, right? I believe, youth engagement and politics at any level is super important. And so I would like to see a student rep be on this committee and be here for our whole meeting, right? There are items on our agenda that we could use a student perspective about. For instance, we're going to be talking about the calendar. What do students think about the calendar? What's their perspective? How do they see things? And so for me, people say, well, there's homework, there's other activities. This is an activity. Political activities are just as important as we talk about having something to engage all students, whether it be band, whether it be sports, whether it be the math club, it can be politics. So what I really want to see is sustained engagement from our students who come in here and who participate fully as members on this committee. That's just my 2 cents. I would like to have someone here regularly engaging with us. It can rotate on the committee, that's fine, but I just really think it's important to have student voice, as is consistent, I will point out, with Mass General Law.
Chris?
So yeah, I will certainly agree with Dr. Jenkins. I think student voice at the table here, especially in municipal government, such as the Dartmouth School Committee, is very important. I have no doubt that you have your own perspective to share on a lot of the topics that this committee discusses. So I would agree that I would certainly like to see a student rep, student government. However, we've talked about it in the past. I'm here for our meetings. We get it. Things come up, obviously. Please, I hope we're not scaring you.
Or make you feel like you have to stay tonight.
Exactly. This is your first meeting, but I think that your voice or your friends' voices, other students in school, would have a lot to offer, not only to this committee but to the community at large. So, from my point of view, I agree. That I would love to see a student rep here throughout the meeting. Moving forward.
Kathleen?
Yeah,
You good?
I
Yeah.
absolutely agree.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
Mary?
and just more question for
Move up to the mic. Well, no,
I'm
move
sorry.
up to the
Okay,
microphone.
I'm sorry. More of a
That's okay.
question for you, Phoenix. within the school, before you came to this meeting, were you having discussions, or how is that like, how did you come to this position, and how is it, being organized? Because I know we've been talking about like, taking a second look at this, from years past where it was just reporting on, just current events. So I'm kind of curious about the background of what's been happening within the school, before you came into, tonight.
So far, the Student Advisory Council is still somewhat in development. It's still unknown 100% exactly how things are going to shake out. We've had 2 meetings so far with the 5 members and our advisor, Ms. O'Neill. So far, we haven't had any, if you mean meetings with the student body as a whole.
No, I just think like among yourselves even. I'm just kind of curious about the development, within the school, because I know it's something that's novel, that's new.
Yeah, we've had 2 meetings so far, and so far they've just been about getting acquainted with the style of these meetings as a whole. So in the last one we discussed Robert's Rules of Order, just to get the hang of those. And I'm getting the hang of those. It's still not 100%, but...
Hey, we're still not 100%. Okay, that's great.
So in the future, I'm hoping we can discuss a system of actually, as I was saying, surveying the student body in a way that's a little more than just passive conversation or assumptions. So we'll see how that goes in the future.
Oh, great. That's really helpful. Thanks, Phoenix, for that insight.
And again, as I said, you're more than welcome to stay if you've got to leave, because, and I understand what my colleagues are saying, but that's my 2 cents on that part. And the other thing I always say to the student representatives that we have is you're our eyes and ears in the school. So, never be afraid, of bringing something to us type of deal. There are some things that maybe we can look at, and there are some things for a number of different reasons that are not in our purview type of deal. So, that, for the most part, that door is always open. So, thank you for being here, and good luck.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. That one's good, and that one's good. All right. The consent agenda for cultural to Portugal and Spain, we're going to hold that till February, because the teacher is unavailable tonight.
Okay.
So we're going to hold that till our February 13th meeting. So,
That's amazing.
all right. You want to introduce him?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, next on our agenda, we have Director of Music Ian Flint. He's going to present some information mostly about the music program at the elementary itself and how it feeds into all the great things that we see happening at the high school level.
Excellent. Thanks so much for having me here tonight. So we're going to talk a little bit about the elementary program and specifically how it does incorporate. And that's a big thing that goes into the entire music department, because it is a holistic department. And sometimes we lose track. We see a lot with the instrumental program and the choral program here. There's obviously a lot of focus on that because of the successes there. But I kind of want to talk tonight about what we're looking at the elementary level. We've made some adjustments in the last 2 years. So. First up, I'm going to start out with our elementary staff. So this is a change this year. Right now at DeMello School, we have Miss Monique Salemi. She's 3 days a week, and she's no longer sharing, DeMello School is no longer sharing with a second teacher. Before, the teacher at Potter used to come over to DeMello and teach some of the students, which created issues because you might have one teacher 1 year and then another teacher for 2 years and then back to that original teacher. So she's now full-time at DeMello running that entire program. She's primarily vocalist by trade. Over at Quinn School, we have Mrs. Shirley Byers. She is full-time at Quinn now. She used to teach at Quinn and a little bit at Cushman, maybe 1 or 2 classes, but now she's just full-time at Quinn. She also serves as the high school musical director. She accompanies the high school chorus and the orchestra programs. She's a pianist and a vocalist, so she's integrated across the system all the way to our high school level. And then our final teacher is new this year. It's Mr. Cameron Siegel over at Potter School and Cushman School. He's a music educator. As a music educator, he worked in Oregon for a number of years. He's actually completing his doctorate in music education at the University of Oregon currently, so he's on his final semester of that towards his dissertation. He's a 2007 Dartmouth graduate, which is my first year as a teacher here in the school. He was a senior, and he's a percussionist by trade, so he went through our band program as a percussionist and has degrees in jazz drum set and music education and all kinds of stuff. So he studied in Florida and here at UMass. So super excited to have him, and it's been a kind of something fresh in our elementary music program with having Cameron around. Talk a little bit about pre-K to 5 music goals. So creating a lifelong love of music for all students, no matter their background or access to music outside of the classroom. We want our elementary students to enter into the middle school program where they couldn't imagine their school day without music. Second point is providing foundational musical skills for future success in the music classroom. The three main places we focus on are rhythm, pitch, and melody. We also want to provide a wide variety of musical experiences for all students. Some students enjoy singing, some enjoy playing musical instruments, some enjoy physical movement through music. The fourth point is performance opportunities are very important for students at the elementary level. These performances could be in a small environment like their daily music classroom, through in-school performances for their peers, or at nighttime concerts for parents and the community. And the final goal would be preparation for the middle school and high school music program. In the 5th grade, students are asked to select music classes for 6th grade. It's important that they are informed and prepared for whatever their choices of classes, no matter whether that's band, orchestra, chorus, or the general music program. The elementary level, we offer 2 different kinds of curriculum. Some schools, it's focused on just one of these 2 aspects. There are a couple other curriculums that you'll see in music education, but these are really the 2 key foundational ones. So here at Dartmouth, the teachers come with different specialties. So we allow them to kind of go with what their specialty is. There's a lot of crossover in these 2 curriculums too. So in the ORF curriculum, you'll see a lot of singing in the classroom, movement, placing movement with music that is being played or performed. So you see them moving around the classroom and singing at the same time. You'll see a lot of instruments in an ORF classroom. So you see what we call like boom whackers. You can see the students on this slide. You know, they're pitched percussion instruments that they hit, and they do it in a sequence. It creates a melody. Keyboard instruments, like the ORF instruments, they're kind of like percussion instruments. Shakers, rhythm sticks, recorders. So all kinds of different stuff with instruments. And then the final part of ORF is literacy, understanding of musical elements as it relates to notation. So that's a real big focus in ORF, is being able to relate those 2 things back to notation, which is key in middle school. And in the Kodai method, it's very singing based and it's very folk music based. So we see the use of hand signs as they relate to pitches. Rhythmic proficiency is a key part to the Kodai method. A lot of collaboration in the classroom too. So we'll see students that are working together in different songs where they pass that song along around the classroom. And in Kodai, it's based on cultural connections, so a wide variety of cultural connections. And we do try to incorporate both of these because I think all these things are important, but one of the teachers might focus on one program more than the other. There's definitely some crossover. So in our curriculum right now, we offer essential elements. Now this has been a change since the pandemic. In the pandemic, it was really, really difficult. Obviously, singing was not permitted in the schools. So we have students that lost about 2 years of vocalization. You can see in both those methods that singing is the primary thing, and we lost that. So we did have a curriculum that we had that was computer-based, and it provided the widest range of access for our students. But we moved over to a new one this year, which is our Essential Elements music class. Most people growing up in elementary music, you got like a book and there's like all these folk songs. Believe it or not, most of those folk songs are not maybe the best thing for a music curriculum because of things we found out throughout history, that maybe they are based on racial or some sort of thing that's maybe not appropriate for a music classroom. So what's great about the Essential Elements is that they keep everything up to date. So everything is current with curriculum, and they're all resources that teachers can use, and we know that they're vetted and that they're current to the NAFME standards for music education. Second part is the ORF keyboards. You can see the xylophones. This has been a big push for us. So we have one full set of ORF keyboards that are currently being shared between DeMello, Potter, and Quinn schools. We're in the process of purchasing another full set in the next few weeks. So we actually got a donation, and we have some money we've set aside this school year in order to complete out a second set. And then we're hoping that next year we can get to have a third set, so all schools have a full set of ORF instruments. It's actually very expensive instruments. We've been, to work towards that investment's, really quite a process. We can see in our inventory that we've had full sets, 3 or 4 full sets, but most of them are 50, 60 years old even, so quite old. So we're working towards that. The second one's the boom whackers, which are the pitch ones. So for boom whackers, we have those across all the buildings. They have all the same thing, access to those instruments. The recorder curriculum takes place between the 4th and 5th grade levels. These instruments simulate the experience of playing a wind instrument that might be seen in the band program of the middle school and the high school level. And then recently we purchased our first set of ukuleles for elementary schools to be able to introduce string instruments at the elementary level. This is in preparation for our string program at the middle school and high school level. So Lots of stuff with instruments. We found that what we're trying to do, and what I talked to the staff about, is what haven't we done in the last 2 years that we can get in the kids' hands. And part of that's just kind of investing back in the program. It's a lot of instruments, they'll last 20, 30 years, but making that financial investment is important from the music department standpoint. And then the final part is technology. We're trying to integrate technology in our classrooms. So the Essential Elements does a great job at that. A lot of this stuff is interactive with the students. There'll be a song, there's a video along with it that has the beat bouncing along. The students can see how that works. But it's all interactive inside the classroom now instead of one-to-one with a computer.
Ian, quick question for you.
Yep.
The keyboards that you're getting, how much do those run?
A full set of Orff instruments can cost from $8,000 to $15,000, depending on the model that is being purchased. So, yeah, so a full set of Orff instruments is quite the investment, actually. So we've been saving up. We have concert funds. We have different things that, throughout the years that we are able to piece some money together to make that happen. Supported DSMA, all kinds of stuff, right? So that's working towards that first set, getting that purchase. One of the issues with purchasing right now is they're not available. So we're kind of trying to source them. You can get half of them. You can get all the wooden ones, but the metal ones aren't available right now. It has to do with supply chain.
Thank you.
So performance opportunities. In the second week of January, the fourth grade students performed in a winter concert. This is new. In the past, it was just fifth grade level. We did do fourth grade concerts during the pandemic, and that was kind of out of necessity. And we found it was just a great success for the fourth graders to get introduced to that. The three music teachers were able to present 3 unique concerts featuring what they've been doing in their music class for the first half of the school year. And I kind of said to them, do what you do and then present it to the parents. It's almost like an exhibition of what we're learning, right, in the classroom. So that was kind of the focus of these concerts. So you'll see the 3 different versions. The DeMello concert features songs that were accompanied with rhythm games that were performed during their class time. There was also selections that were call and response with song leaders, and they incorporated the audience into those performances. The students performed a wide variety of modern music, and students presented the narrations between each piece. At the Quinn School, they presented a music from musical theater throughout history. There's a wide variety of material from throughout the history of musical theater. Along with this, there was a script that the students performed that they told the history of musical theater. And at the Potter concert, they incorporated the use of Orff instruments into their performance. They presented a wide variety of cultural music. Part of their preparation for the concert involved a day where our high school chorus director, Mr. Sam Bianco, came to Potter School to work with the students on vocal and performance skills. So there's collaboration with the high school level too, which is great. And then moving ahead to later this school year, we'll see a spring concert from all 3 of our elementary school 5th grade classes. These performances will be a culmination of the musical skills that the students have learned throughout elementary school. We see the performances on percussion instruments as well as on recorders, along with singing and themed concerts unique to each school. And talk a little bit about how this incorporates into our middle school program. I know there's been a good amount of questions on this. And so with the pandemic, we were forced into some different versions of what this looks like. Key thing was being able to get lessons for the 5th graders 2 years ago was a challenge. And so we had a year where we started the students in 6th grade. It was highly successful. And that's what we didn't really know how it would turn out. But right now our 7th grade instrumental program is one of the largest programs we've ever seen here at Dartmouth. And part of that is when you're in music education, the students, they get to a certain age and there's a maturity as a player. And when they're in 6th grade, it's totally different than 5th grade. Just the consistency of player and their physical ability to handle these adult-sized instruments, we say. And you're going to see that if you go to any large state like California or Texas, they've moved to the 6th grade model. We do a lot of things in music education. Specifically, it's a regional-based thing. I know when I worked in Vermont, when I got rid of my 4th grade beginning band, I had every teacher in the region saying, "What are you doing?" We all had started in 4th grade. I said, it doesn't work at this school. It's maybe not the right thing because we had 4th grade elementary, 5th grade was middle school. So it was better to just do 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade middle school. And it worked because the retention rates were higher and the continuity from elementary to middle school, we didn't have to make that leap. So the other main factor, to be completely honest, is in the 5th grade when they were having lessons, they had 400 minutes maximum of lesson time. When we're in 6th grade, they get 4,000 minutes of lesson time. So when we take the teachers and we take them to all these elementaries, we have to have huge classes in the 6th, 7th, 8th grade because they can only be in the middle school for a little part of the day. And then now they don't have to leave to go to the elementary for an hour and a half and then drive their car and get set up and all these kind of things. Now they have 2 sections of each grade level. So if you're Mr. Souza and you have a flute and a clarinet class, now you have a flute and a clarinet class. Instead of 30 kids in the classroom at one time, you have 15 and 15. And what was happening before was work with the flutes, clarinets sit there. Work with the clarinets, flutes sit there. We don't do that anymore. So those 4,000 minutes are much better used, and we can do that over 3 years. So we're gaining so much time on learning with these students. It seems to make sense. The other thing is that the elementaries, spaces, there's only so much space in the classrooms, and when you're playing instruments, they're loud. So we have to be in specific spots in the school. It just doesn't really work out. So that was another thing that kind of played into it. And the final part was with the elementaries, it gives them flexibility. They had to base their entire schedule off of an hour in the day when the music teachers could get into the building. So the lunches had to be at a time, and all the class changes had to be a specific time. So we feel like this is going to be not just a positive thing for the instrumental program in terms of retention, but it's going to be great for the elementaries to give them more flexibility in what they do. And really, at the end, it's about a better overall experience for our students. By having them in smaller classrooms with more focus, instead of 40 kids in a percussion class in 6th grade, they can have 20 students in a regular sized classroom. We're able to just be more focused and more detail oriented with each individual student. And then final thing is, in Dartmouth, music is the fundamental thing, right? This is just what we do here. So it's highly valued in the town of Dartmouth. It begins at the elementary level, and without high quality music education at the pre-K to 5 level, we would have nothing that we have here in the upper levels. We're grateful for the support of all the administration, teachers, staff, and members of our community. None of this is possible without total buy-in from all parties involved. I feel that we provide a life-changing music opportunity for our students in Dartmouth, and we will continue to strive to be the model for high-quality music education throughout our region. Thanks for having me here tonight, and letting you know a little bit about what our elementary music program is.
Thank you, Ian.
Very nice.
Questions, comments? Chris?
I'll go first. Thank you, Ian, for the presentation. It's great to see a little bit of background about the elementary level and the music program. Both of my daughters went through the elementary schools here. One of them is still a junior at the high school. But, certainly some things to think about as far as you talk about updating some of the instruments, as well as one of the questions that I had was in our 3 elementary schools, and I guess, is it safe to say that our Cushman receives music? Does Cushman School receive any type of music services, music teaching?
They do. So Cameron's there on Fridays.
Okay.
He has a full day Friday there to work with those students. So I believe it's 35 or 40 minutes on.
That's
it's
great.
Different on every level. Yeah. So they have pre-K. All the pre-K students have a class, and there's a very specific curriculum for that. It's
Okay.
like a lot of it has to do, like they'll have like an art project that goes along with the song that they learn
Yep.
about, Mozart mouse or whatever it is,
Sure,
right?
exactly. No, very cool. My last question is in regards to the elementary schools. What do the spaces look like? How is music instruction being delivered to the students? Is it push-in into the classrooms, or are there dedicated spaces in the elementary schools for music classrooms?
There's 3 different versions of that right now.
Okay.
And this is part of the flexibility that I'm talking about, is that it actually works out really well at DeMello. Mrs. Lemmy, she's on a cart, so she'd go in classroom to classroom, but she's primarily a Kodai teacher, which works really well in that kind of environment.
Okay.
Because she's able to, because it's mostly song-based, it's activity-based, but not like with the larger instruments that she has to drive around. And at Quinn School, it's a massive music classroom. I mean, it used to be the middle school band room.
Okay.
So she has all the space you could ever ask for, and she is kind of a hybrid of the 2
Yep.
things, Orphan Kodai. And then Mr. Siegel's on the stage at Potter. There's only a little overlap with lunch. I think it's a 10-minute overlap.
Okay.
So it's a really minor, and he's very instrument-based, so that works out for him.
That's great that you're able to be that flexible with it.
Yeah, the teachers are flexible with it. They're like, this is what I have, and
Yeah.
they're very well-versed at the different options.
Great,
So
thank
it
you.
works out.
Shannon?
Thanks. I'll just say this is great. My kids came up through the schools, and when they brought their recorder home, a testament to early music learning. I ripped off a hot cross buns right away, all that muscle memory
That's
from
right.
elementary school, right? So early learning, right? But I just really appreciate, coming from outside this district, how well music education is integrated into our curriculum, into our schools. In so many districts, that's been cut. It isn't part of the curriculum, and we know how good music is for helping children's brain development and for them to learn. So I'm just really pleased with all the work that you've been doing to provide this to our kids. So thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, and to expand on Shannon's point too, I just really grateful for the program for you and our instructors here in town and the program that we have, because it really is also, you know, it's that brain development, but it's also that bridge to inclusion. It's also, you know, I have these wonderful photos of my son, he's not able to speak, but one of his first, well, he had a few first signs, but I won't, modifications of signs that don't look appropriate when I do them. But for music, you know, he was able to, you know, illustrate his love for music, and I just know that, you know, I'm sure for many students like him, it's a place where you can then focus your passion and be more included, and also just, you know, it does something to the students who really love that, for all of the things that you described. I'm not musically inclined, but I do also have a 7th grade, and I appreciate you explaining the change in the model. So I have a 7th grader who plays trumpet, and you know, it was COVID. You know, first it was we don't have 4th grade talent. I look at Mr. Fair. We don't have 4th grade talent show. We don't have 5th grade this, that, the other thing, and we don't march in the, you know. But and then parents were sort of, you know, the buzz of, like you said, in your other school, like 4th grade, they were little, teachers were like, why, how'd you do this? Same thing here, like parents were like, we don't have 5th grade, you know, instrument. But the way that you explained it, I'm sold, and obviously you know, the fruits of that labor are coming to fruition with, like you said, a strong program, and what you mentioned about the brain development, and, you know, the older, more focused and long-term players, that's the right word. But thank you for overviewing that as well, and you know, we're really fortunate to have you here in town.
Yes, so thank you, Mr. Flint. As always, just a wonderful presentation. And again, I was about to say too, I'd like to see the flexibility with the elementary, and it sounds like it's going to help make a much more robust program in the middle school. And it is interesting too, you know, just seeing my own children at, you know, various experiences go through, is that you can see that, you know, in so many cases when they have that, you know, early experience, they might not get that aha moment until much later. And I've seen that, you know, even like, you know, my son accessing the piano program that you have here. So I think it's just, you know, again, it's a testimony to you and, you know, your program, and, you know, and also to the families in this community who really support, you know, everything and prioritize music. It's great that it's such a foundation of this district, and you're such a part of that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ian, for being here. And truth be told, when we kind of had a workshop in the fall as to what we wanted for, you know, any special topics or that type of deal, my thought was, we all know what the high school band does, the chorus, the orchestra, the color guard, that type of deal. But what about the feeder programs down in the elementary and middle school? And you know, could Ian come and talk about those? It's the same, and Mr. Christofoli will be in later in the school year to talk about phys ed and health, because we all know what athletics is like, but what's the other hat that he wears, type of deal. So that, I thought it would be great for, you know, everyone, me included, to, even though I'm very much involved with it, to see what's going on and that type of deal. And I thank you for that. And, you know, one of the things that Ian talked about is the continuity. And, you know, I've said this to people outside, and they wonder how we do so well and such. And I tell them, in my opinion only, is we have the continuity. You know, and if you're doing drums in 5th grade, you have Mr. Runks. When you get into 7th grade, you have Mr. Runks. You get into the high school, you have Mr. Runks. It's the same person. Everybody knows exactly what's going on. And even the instructors, you know, that give our students the lessons are familiar with what we're doing and are able to work. You know, I mean, my grandson is doing WINS this year, and he took his music for WINS to his lesson teacher, his sax lesson teacher, to help him get through, you know, work with it and everything else. It was great. So thank you, sir.
Yeah, I would say, like, I'll just leave it with one thing. I'm only here today because of Holly Snitzer, my elementary music teacher. You know, I grew up in a school district where music education was valued at the level that it was at Dartmouth. I was fortunate, and I didn't realize when I was in 6th grade that my elementary music teacher was probably one of the best in the country. And I always say she kind of brainwashed us in the love of music. There's a lot of people. I graduated with 60 kids in my graduating class. There's 10 of us that work in the music profession. I mean, people that sing in the Metropolitan Opera, college professors with doctorates. 10 out of 60. It's a crazy statistic when you think about it. I'm here and I'm just one of us. And it's the reality that having that influence and having that early on, and even the teachers, the middle school and high school teachers, they always said it's it was her. It was all her. We could do anything with you because you would just be yep, we'll just do it, because she was that influential and just a great person, right? And so it's telling the teachers, it's all about connections. It's about getting the students to have this passion for it. Not every student's going to, grow up to be a director of music somewhere or whatever. But if they have an appreciation walking out elementary, then who knows what's going to happen with the middle school and high school, and then later on for those people. So, I value it highly because I know the impact it had on my life. And I don't think, honestly, without her, I would definitely not be a music teacher. This was not what would have been in my head when I was growing up. But, I just knew how important it was. So, yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so
Much
much.
appreciated.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Okay. Next, that's all set. Old business, superintendent search. Mr. Kiley, do you have anything?
I
before-
can just let you know that I followed up based on your comments at the last school committee meeting. We made the changes to the brochure, got those over to Mr. Hardy at MASC. The position was posted, I believe on Friday it went up, and the emails went out. We saw, I received one today, so from MASC. So that's out there, closes February 6th. Mr. Hardy couldn't be here tonight. He was scheduled to attend, but
Yeah, and the weather up that neck of the woods is a lot worse than here.
he was ill.
Yeah.
Family.
It's that time of the year. That's going to happen. All right, thank you. Questions for people? Anybody have any questions? Did everybody get an opportunity to look at the list that Ms. Gunther, thank you very much, ma'am, sent out, and then was very helpful today by modifying it as to where they were. That was great. Thank you. I appreciate that. And, questions or comments on it? Go ahead.
Oh, no,
Oh,
I
sorry.
was just
Nope,
coughing,
nope,
but
nope, I apologize.
Is the intent of this committee to make the appointments this evening?
I hadn't gotten that far, I'll be honest with you. If you want to talk about this now, or you want to wait till our next meeting on the 13th, and then they'll be ready to go for, where's my schedule? Ready to go on the 28th, which is when Mr. Hardy is going to have the training and all the paperwork signing for everyone, that type of deal. Okay, if you go back and you look at,
Yeah, let me take a look here.
okay, if you go back and take a look, it's actually out a week early. We're a little bit ahead, which is fine. It says the list that we have, that he provided to us, that I have, says February 13th, membership of screening committee completed. And then the following week is school vacation. And then the 28th is formation and training of screening committee completed. March 2nd is when the applications close. I'm not sure if that changed or if that's the same, in the same ballpark.
That's changed.
Yeah,
I thought that changed, yeah.
okay.
These dates are a little,
I think this is the old one.
All right, that's what I had.
Yeah.
right. So,
That's what I had from December
Yeah,
12th.
I think it got updated. Jim will know.
yep.
Okay,
So.
sorry, I apologize.
No, that's okay. So, one of the concerns was that in order to be able to,
Be in the
proceed in a
ballpark,
timely fashion and try and get ahead of, there are a bunch of other postings right now, obviously, out there. So the intent was that what we did was we moved up the application deadline date to February 6th. The semifinalists would be selected, so interview candidates would be selected on February 13th. So you really should act
You're gonna act on it.
regarding the
Okay,
screening
alright.
committee. Semifinalist interviews would be the week of February 27th through March 6th. So if there was a reason tonight that you needed more time to review the search screening candidates, you could do that. But there is a, fairly tight timeline with finalists selected on March 6th.
You know the email date that went out on with that flow? Because I'm trying to find it with all the dates.
was that
for
in
the?
It's in the brochure,
in the
so if
brochure.
you want to look
Okay.
at the last meeting, it was in the brochure.
That's the one thing I didn't print.
So February 6th, applications due. February 13th, semifinalists selected.
Okay.
February 27th through March 6th would be the first round of interviews.
So when was Mr. Hardy's first? Yeah, I have that here. Yep. But as far as the screening committee training them,
It would be sometime between, before February 13th. February 13th would be when semifinalists are selected by the screening committee. So,
Okay, that, all right, because,
I mean, obviously,
Correct me.
these dates can be somewhat flexible if you folks need them to be something else, but that is what was published in the brochure.
I think it would make. I think it would make
Go ahead.
sense to get this settled this evening.
no,
Um,
I'm
if-
good
if
with
the
that.
committee's if that's the
Here
committee's
is-
pleasure.
And I missed this, I'm gonna be honest, my fault. The, February 13th, we have a school committee meeting. So that,
That's going to be changed.
well, something has to
Right.
change in there. And, okay, because you got our meeting on the 13th, no disrespect. Tuesday is Valentine's Day, all right? And I'm not going there, that's up to the committee. I'm not going there, I already got chewed out
Last year?
20 years ago for that.
We did that last year. I think we had it before
Yeah,
that.
we met on Valentine's Day last year, but if I remember correctly, I sat there and said, what's your option, people? And so I would think that you'd have to go Wednesday, the 15th. That's my only thought there.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
I don't
and
see
again,
any
I-
reason that can't be flexible date.
You know, that type of deal, so. So Kathleen?
I just have a question that, I made the assumption, but I just wanted to make sure that the selection criteria in the brochure is based off of the results of the survey?
Right, and
Okay.
Mr. Hardy had planned on being here tonight to share those results, but obviously he was unable to. He will be available on the 13th, and could share survey results with the group then, or we could ask for some written information about the survey from him if we need it before then. But yes, it informed the brochure.
Okay.
Can he get that? Can you,
I can ask him for
Ask him-
some sort of a
some,
report from it.
some type of a
Sure.
report, a summary?
I'll do
And
that.
get to us, so
Sure.
you can get it forwarded to us, so we can take a look at it? Kathleen?
And just to be proactive, if I understand he's not well or personal reasons, but if he's unable to travel, if we could plan to have him at least Zoom in at a minimum, because I
Yeah.
feel like
I
we
would
need.
agree. I'd like to see someone from MASC here on the
Yeah.
13th.
The 13th, oh, yeah, we've
If
got.
it's not Jim, it's Mr. Cooch, it's Glenn
It's
Kuchar.
Glenn or
it's
the
Dorothy
young lady.
Presser,
Yeah.
it's
Someone.
someone needs to be here in person or on Zoom.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we're gonna have a major snowstorm on the 13th with power out of it.
Don't,
Go back and
don't say that.
When I was a kid, we had one, so I'll leave it at that. So, okay. All right.
Picking the team tonight, team.
Yeah.
And it would be great, Mr. Chair, Mr. Kiley, if he could provide us with some kind of summary, like Kathleen said, prior to that meeting, so we can at least have a look over it before.
Well, that's what I said, if
Okay.
if he can get that to us, the sooner the better.
Yep.
So that we at least have it to look at,
Agreed.
you know, per se, no disrespect, you know, an email at 5 o'clock on February 13th isn't going to cut it, if you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So, that being said, I still have my wonderful notes. If you remember, Ms. Gunther sent us an email on the 29th of November with what the search committee looked like back in 2015.
Yep.
Okay. And just so that everybody at home and in our audiences, it had 2 central administrators, 2 school committee members, 1 curriculum director, 3 principals, middle, high school, and 1 elementary, 3 teachers, a union designee/teacher, 2 parents, and a retired administrator. We had some discussions at our last meeting about having like a maintenance, a custodian, secretary, food service person on that. So that answers Jean's question.
To replace the retired administrator
To
line.
replace the retired administrator.
And then the other change was the curriculum director was going to be a related services provider.
Right, because
Yeah.
they would be central.
Yeah, I was
then
going up
anyway,
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
So my only question is, there's no community, have we, so from the emails or from the drive that Skenther included us all on, I did not see any parents.
right. I did, nor did I.
Okay.
Okay. So my
We did
thought.
have one
my-
community member, which would be Miss Brooks.
Yep.
She's not a parent, but she's a community member.
She also even though we took it out, she
Yeah.
falls under that
Retired administrator.
retired administrator type of deal. My thought was asking the building administrators, you know, to reach out to their PTO presidents or something and see if there's someone who is interested. I mean, this is a time commitment, okay, that type of deal. So this is, you know, this is not a 12-to-1 meeting type of deal. When you have, you know, specifically with the finalists and everything, and Chris, you've done it, you know, however many you have in a day, they're usually 45 minutes to an hour type of deal. So you have 3 or 4 of them, so you're talking, you know, a 4 or 5 hour, you know, over a couple of days. So that's my recollection of, you know, when we've done it, when I've done it. So that's.
So do we want to just go right down the line and start discussing our choices?
Yeah,
So
Yep.
I guess what I'm looking at here from the the 2015 Superintendent Search Committee info, so we have 2 central office administrators. We did receive several.
we have, bear with me here for a second. We've got Ms. Gunther, and we have Ms. Paveo.
That's easy.
Well, how do we qualify who is central office, right? I mean, because we did have the director of nutrition, Ms. Sheridan, who really is a district-based sort of, right? That's what I don't know the answer to this question.
I'm looking, personally, I'm looking at Ms. Sheridan as into the maintenance custodian secretary food service. That's where I was looking at her. That's my thought. And again, I'm only me.
Yeah, I guess when I was nominating that, for that slot, I really sort of envisioned someone who's not a director, someone who is to be frank, I don't mean this in an insulting way, but at the lower end of the pay scale and has more in tune with those sorts of issues. A frontline custodial staff, a TA in the classroom, a food service worker in the cafeteria, right? I think we need more representation from the lower end of the pay scale as opposed to the higher end of the pay scale. Just my 2 cents.
Well, I think the problem you have there, Shannon, is the fact that, with all due respect, we didn't get anybody from maintenance, a custodian, or a secretary. You know, the one quote and unquote cafeteria worker we got was the director.
There is a teaching assistant.
Yes, and I was looking at her as being one of the teachers.
I specifically said teaching assistant when I made that point, and that's in the minutes for
Okay.
that slot.
So,
Secretarial, teaching assistant, custodial, food service, or maintenance staff.
all right, I didn't write TA down, huh?
Anyway.
Kate is the secretary.
Yeah, yeah. Kate's, yeah, I mean.
And so then that's
And,
also, I don't know the answers to these questions. The categories are not entirely clear. We're drawing Venn diagrams, there's some overlap here.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you, but go back to what you just said, the secretary, Kate's the, no, the, Kate's the secretary.
Correct, or she could be considered central administration. She could,
How fine do you, how fine do you want to split this, you know? I'm not trying to,
All I'm trying to get is clarity. I don't understand who falls into what category. It is not clear to me. What do we mean by central office? Someone who works out of central office?
Or an administrator, I think you're saying.
Right, I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
okay. Chris, I'm going to go back to you because it was you and Mr. Garth. Do you remember who was central office when we hired Dr. Gifford? Off the top of your head.
I do.
Okay.
Jim was there. Jim was there.
You,
Jim
okay,
was there.
Tracy Oliveira.
okay.
Let's see.
Ms. Roy? No?
I don't, yeah,
No?
Mr. Vieira, do you remember? You were on the committee as well.
yeah,
Michelle was
Michelle.
Michelle and then Mr. Glenn.
Yeah,
I'm
But she was
sorry.
the curriculum person then.
Michelle, Tracy, and me.
Yeah.
And Jim, okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Renee. Again, I wasn't part and parcel of that, so I am flying blind with this as far as that one goes. So, thank you. So, that's what that's what was central office. Okay. So,
So based on this list, if I may,
yeah,
based on this list, I'd like to, do we need to make motions here to appoint these people? To appoint this staff? I would,
yeah, yeah, I'm just trying to, you know, I'm not trying to, 1, 2, 3, I mean, I'm trying to make it a lot easier, but I think we're probably going to need to do that.
we'll take it one,
Take a
one section at a time.
one category at a time.
Yeah,
That
that
sounds good.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we appoint for central office, Mrs. Catherine Paveo, as well as, really, Mrs. Gunther. Those are my two.
I'll
those are
second that. That was going to be my choice.
for central office.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second for Ms. Paveo and Ms. Gunther for central office and central administrators. Any other anybody else? Everybody good with that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, okay. That takes care of that one.
Thank you.
Okay. 2 school committee members, well, there were only 2 that applied, Mr. Oliver and Dr. Jenkins.
Yeah, congratulations.
I'll move that we appoint Mr. Oliver and Dr. Jenkins as
I'll second that.
Okay. Don't mind me, I'm just trying to make notes here so I can,
Big star.
yeah, there we go, thank you very much. Okay, so we got a motion by Dr. Jenkins and,
I think it's,
Yeah, I
Mary,
think
did
we
you second it?
Well, one of us
Either
did,
one.
yeah.
Okay, that's fine, Mary,
fine.
second by Ms. Waite. Any other volunteers? No, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously, thank you for doing that.
Yes, thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't say, Ms. Paveo, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
Kate, thank
Ms.
you.
Gunther, thank you.
Yep, thank
Yeah, she's hiding. I got that. All right, that takes care of that. Okay. The curriculum director, we talked about, we have our curriculum. I get that, yeah. We
That was
talked,
going to be,
there was a discussion about related service provider. Okay. So,
Defer to
yep.
Mrs. Amaral.
We got a reading and a
Yeah, there's
tech. Reading specialist and a tech specialist.
We have an
EL
ELL
teacher.
teacher, instructional technology specialist, a reading specialist, and a special education teacher.
I got a reading, I got a reading specialist,
Thank you. Oh, you
I typed that up,
I got a
sorry.
tech specialist,
Because I couldn't read that either.
I was going to separate them into.
I got 2 reading specialists.
There's, no SLP or
Nope, not that I saw.
T or anything like that?
No,
really
they're all,
bad with-
believe it or not, they're all over here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That type of deal.
Thanks.
So, you got an ELL?
Oh, you were good.
We got an ELO.
That's your only.
Yeah, huh?
Mm.
Yeah,
This on me.
I got,
I,
about, I'm looking at Kelly, no disrespect, I'm looking at Kelly Dua. She's an ELL system teacher.
The alternative is Ms. Moniz, who's a special education teacher.
Go ahead.
or, I mean, yeah, Miss Lynch is I mean, this is hard.
Right,
I think
yeah.
they would all equally be valuable
They're all-
members.
yeah.
So, I mean,
I don't have one.
I'm not here to break a tie. I don't know.
I don't care.
No,
I-
no, there's not a matter of
I
a
would defer to
tie.
you,
If you-
because
You go ahead.
You know, I really, this is hard,
No,
yeah.
Listen, nobody said it was gonna be easy. This is why we
Yeah.
get the big bucks,
Yeah.
okay?
And so the ELL,
ELL is Kelly Dua,
yeah.
okay?
Oh, I mean,
If you can't do it, I'll do it.
I really, there,
Should we have the Jeopardy theme song?
Dee, 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 dee.
I mean, I,
I know you don't want to.
Do you want to do it, Ms.
I'm
Rao?
I'll
actually
make a
leaning
motion
toward
that-
Mary Lynch, but.
All right, that's fine.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Mary Lynch
second.
as the related services person.
That was really tough. But I did it.
I'm good with that. This, I do not have that type of deal. All right. So we have a motion and a second for Mary Lynch from the middle school as the reading specialist. Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Lynch. Okay. 3 principals, high school, middle, and an elementary. So we have Mr. Shea from the high school, Mr. Rossi from the middle school to be principal by the time this really starts to work out. We have Mr. Granfield
Mr.
from Quinn, and,
Mr. Porter.
Mr. Porter, Ms. Correa.
Oh,
no,
is that
Mr.,
it?
I didn't see Mr. Porter's name.
We put in today.
Yeah,
I put it in today.
I have it here.
He's there.
Deadline.
That was past the deadline, because I asked for these to be in by Friday, with all due respect.
Okay.
And then I got Miss Xavier, who's the associate principal here at the high school. So
Can I?
those are what we got. Shannon?
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Mr. Shea, Mr. Rossi, and Mr. Porter.
I second that.
But can I ask a question, though?
Sure.
Do we just say that Mr. Porter's, though, came in too late? Like,
Yeah, I thought we had said that we were gonna have everything in for last Friday.
You did.
Was there a posting? A date?
Was that in the minutes?
I believe it was.
Yes.
Oh. Then,
If it was in the minutes, then I
Yeah.
think we should abide by that,
Yeah.
but
To send in an email to Miss Gunther by January 20th, 2023.
I rescind my
Right.
second.
okay, so then can I make a motion?
we have a motion on the floor. I have
thought
to
you
withdraw,
rescinded.
I will withdraw my motion.
That's
I
fine.
apologize.
Okay. So, go ahead.
Oh, so then can I make a motion to appoint Mr. Shea, Mr. Rossi, and Mr. Granfield?
Yep.
I'll second.
Okay, so Ms. Wade has the motion, Ms. Amaral has the second. Any other discussion? Dr. Jenkins?
So I know this is going to sound maybe, given that I just made a motion to nominate 3 men, but I don't wonder whether we nominate a woman.
Oh, good
whether we consider that.
Well, can I ask, can I just, are we opening this to discussion?
Yeah, I mean, it's a
okay.
motion, we always
Yeah,
discuss.
we have discussion.
So just on that, I would say, I think in this, when we talk about administrators, it's most, we do have other women that are going to be represented with Ms. Paveo, Ms., Dr. Jenkins, Ms. Genther. I think it is important to have someone, if we're talking about a principal, one principal from the high school, one principal from the middle school, and one from an elementary
We
school.
have to have one from the high school and the middle school. The question is whether it is the elementary principal.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying we need to have one, I think, from one of the elementary schools as well, because wasn't that like part of the discussion?
Yeah, no,
And
that's-
who
no,
we
no,
have.
we've
Yes,
got-
but my point is the other two are women. I'm sorry, Miss Correa is Miss Correa is a woman.
Ms. Correa
Right,
from the
right.
middle school, and
Okay.
Ms. Xavier, who's
Yeah,
the
right.
associate
Yes.
principal.
Okay, I
and
didn't see that Ms. Correa actually had, okay.
so-
I didn't see that she had applied.
It's just,
Okay.
this is
No,
for
no, I
discussion,
just
right?
didn't see
We're
hers.
having
I
a
apologize.
discussion.
We're
Yeah,
having
no,
a discussion.
that's a point
Easy,
too. Okay.
Easy.
Yep. Yes, everyone is qualified and good. We're choosing
Yeah.
between really good people here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's
This
I
is-
can
fine.
withdraw
this
my
is- this-
second,
this-
and I'll second another.
This is,
No,
this
I'm
is, a-
fine.
this is a
I'm fine,
wonderful discussion.
I
we
didn't see
have
Ms.
to have.
Correa's,
Yeah,
so I
that's
missed
fine.
that.
That's fine, all right. So we've got, Mr. Shea, Mr. Rossi, and Mr. Granfield. Right?
Yeah, I'm, happy with whatever. I mean,
Yeah. Okay, so we've got those three. That's the motion and the second.
Well, did you say you withdrew your second?
No, I said I'm happy. I
okay.
think they're all
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
great.
there's no wrong answer.
Right. And you make
This
a
is the
great
nice
point.
thing about this right now. There
It's
is not a
just
wrong
discussion.
answer.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's just discussion.
That's it. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm going to pose.
All right, Dr. Jenkins, yeah, 4-1. Okay, totally understood.
That's fine.
Totally understood. Okay. All right.
What do we have next?
And up next is teachers. 3 teachers. That's what was on this list. So we got 2, 4, 5, 8, 11, 12, 13 at the moment. If we go right down, we'll be at 13. Okay. I'm just trying to make sure we got no disrespect, we've got an odd number. Okay.
So we're good with 3 teachers.
Yeah, we're good with 3 teachers.
Okay.
That's fine. Okay. So who's, let me give you,
Mr. Chair, may I ask
Yeah.
one question?
sure.
Can I skip one category very quickly? We have a union designee / teacher as the next category. And I don't wonder if the union designee might take one person off of our list as we consider, do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
So do we consider that and ask the union president first? Do you know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Yeah, I
if
know what
it-
you're saying,
Like,
yeah.
if we use one of our picks, then, sorry, they get another pick, right, for their pick. So maybe they pick first? You know
Oh,
what I
I know
mean?
what you're saying. I
Yeah.
know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what, oh, boy. Yeah.
So might we invite Ms. Vieira up to the microphone and ask her who their designee / teacher might be? Is that how that works?
The
Go
other
ahead.
one would be Maureen,
Maureen, yeah, either,
if it's an officer.
yeah, either Ms. Vieira or if Ms. Boyle's still here.
Yes.
Those are the 2 officers.
Those
Not
are
to put
you're
you on the spot.
You're,
So-
no disrespect,
Since
you're the
you're here.
you're
Just
the
to-
co-presidents, correct?
Yes, we're
Okay,
co-presidents.
So,
Okay, so just to clarify, please?
One of the slots on the committee is the union designee / teacher.
Okay.
You are the union, I believe, right?
Yep.
The representative of the union, so
Okay.
you gonna rock, paper, scissors for it real quick?
So, Renee,
So she's designating
I'm
me as the
designating
chair.
Okay.
Renee. Yes.
I'll make a
Perfect.
motion that we appoint Renee Vieira as the union designee
Second.
to the search committee.
Second that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And then it's 3,
okay, so, time out.
Wait,
Back up.
yeah.
okay.
So we got a, did somebody?
I made the
was-
motion.
I was making a note,
I
I'm
made
sorry.
the motion.
Okay, did somebody second that?
3,
Yes.
She did.
Second.
yes.
All right.
I don't know what would happen if we don't approve
Okay,
Renee.
all in
but-
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So let's go back. So let's go back to teachers. And if you don't mind, I'll give you my picks, just to be in here. I'm looking at Mr. Bosworth. Where the heck you? Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Higgins. And even though we've got it later on, I was looking at Trudy Santos, who's a TA at the Quinn. That's who I was looking at. Those were my three.
One more time, Mr. Chair?
Sure. Eric Bosworth, who's a technology teacher here at the high school.
Yeah,
Mr. Higgins, who's English,
yeah.
and who knows what else, and everything else, which is fine. And Trudy Santos, who is a TA at the Quinn.
One thing I do want to make sure, though, is that we are representing, I think it's great that we have a TA, and I think that's, included in this. I do want to make sure that we are representing, because we do have, we'll be a little heavy on the high school, so just as, which I think is fair, but I do want to make sure we're not leaving out, early childhood, Cushman, and we don't have anyone from DeMello, or Potter in this, so just as, thoughts.
We do have a DeMello. We have a DeMello teacher. We have a Quinn teacher.
No, I mean, like, on our list.
Oh,
that
on
we're
our list so
appointing.
far.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I apologize,
Yeah,
yes.
no,
I
so
see
that's
what
what
you're
I just
saying.
want to make sure,
Yep, I understand what you're saying.
that we have some balance there.
Yeah.
Yep, nope, I understand what you're saying.
But again, as
I
much
mean,
as
and
I
again-
agree, I love all those choices, but again, I just want to make
I-
sure that we're.
yeah. I mean,
Sure, do we have anyone representing Potter right now?
I don't,
I don't think so.
Tech.
I got, no, no, no. I have a tech specialist, Sandra Chicka
Yes.
from Potter,
Yeah.
so I can go. Dr. Jenkins?
I would prefer to leave Ms. Santos for the TA slot.
Oh, and again,
That would be my preference.
that's fine, I'm good with
And then
that.
that would allow us to give us a little more flexibility, to Ms. Waite's point about having some teachers that are not just at the high school level.
I would agree with that.
No, and again,
Yep.
There's no wrong answer.
no sweat, all right.
Can-
Okay, so go back. I've said Mr. Bosworth, Mr. Higgins, and who was the one I just said? I apologize. Sandra Chicka from the tech specialist at Potter. Does that work?
So,
Go ahead.
yeah, I would just want to speak, I think, for Mr. Bosworth. I think it does fill, again, and again, as all the candidates, I think it fills the tech, piece. So I do think, I certainly support, I mean, again, I support them, but I think that is,
Yeah.
to fulfilling that need on the committee.
Yeah.
And that vision, so
Yeah,
it's just.
everybody okay? Chris?
I'm good with that.
Shannon?
It's fine.
So I'll make a motion that for our teachers, that we appoint Mr. Bosworth, Mr. Higgins, and Ms. Chica as teachers to the search committee.
I'd second that.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, so we got those three. We've got the union rep, the PTO, or parent, two parents we don't have yet. Hopefully, our wonderful administrators can get somebody from the PTO. We'll go from there.
Yeah.
And the last one, go ahead, Shannon.
I just have a question. I'm just a little leery of us giving up our appointment powers over two members of the committee. I mean, it is the duty, this is one of the primary duties, right? So is that
Who are we giving up?
What do you mean?
the community, the parents? Are we going to approve of them at the next meeting? I thought we decided that was too late.
I did put it on Facebook as well, welcoming people to apply for both
I'm
committees.
just a little concerned about two members of the committee being appointed without the committee's review and approval.
I would certainly agree with that.
Yeah, I agree, I hear what
I
you're saying.
mean, I'm not above if we want to have a 10-minute special meeting at some point to appoint people, I can
Yeah.
do that, we can certainly
Okay.
come in, but this is the school committee's duty, and I believe it's important that we review and appoint all the members.
No, and
fine.
go,
Agree.
go back to what I said, when this first all started type of deal is, this is all us type of deal for argumentative sake. All right, so let's do this. I don't know what everybody's schedule is. Today is the 23rd. Give them, if the school administrators can reach out to their PTOs and get someone with interest by January 31st, okay? And then we can have a 10-minute meeting on February 1st. Does that
Whatever,
work?
fine.
Sure, it's fine.
Can we do it by Zoom?
I can't make the first, but that's fine. I will trust the four of you to do that review.
Oh, gee, thanks.
I can
I'm
do the
sorry.
second, but I can't do the first.
Yeah, you want to do the second? I can do, the second is okay, too. Again,
I
yeah,
can't
Chris,
do-
I agree. If we do it by Zoom instead of trying to,
I have a school committee meeting in my district on the 1st,
The first or the,
on February 1st.
So should we do the second?
you want to do, is the second good?
It's not good for me, but I trust all of you. And I
mean,
have a
and
question.
again, if we did it by Zoom, so you're not schlepping someplace.
I'll
Let-
be facilitating,
Oh, okay,
helping
never mind.
families serve on groups.
I got it.
So I help you facilitate
I got
the
it.
workshop.
Okay,
Um,
go ahead.
Would it be okay for me also to share, well, I would anyway, but share toward, CPAC parents who also may be in,
No, that's good.
dual role with the PTOs and that sort of thing, but.
That's a good point.
can I ask one more question?
Sure.
So we have designated this slot as parents.
I'm sorry.
Parents.
Yeah,
Can we broaden it a little to say anyone who's ever sort of had their kids in the Dartmouth schools? I mean, there are people who maybe their kids are out a couple years, no?
no,
No.
nope, my
Grandparents?
fault. Personally,
Okay,
I want, and I don't mean it, I
Right.
want parents of students in the system right now.
that would be my preference
That's-
as well.
that
But
is- that
again,
is
cast
my-
a wider net and then we'll see what we
There's-
can come up with.
There's 3,500 students in the system right now, give or take, and I would, somewhere down the line, we should be able to hopefully find two. And that's my thought. I'm not akin to going out to someone whose child graduated 15 years ago, and I'm being facetious, but understand things have changed, type of deal. So that's my thought. Okay, so let's go back.
Well,
Go ahead.
by parents though, like a custodial guardian,
Yeah,
could be a grandparent, that sort of thing, just to clarify.
it's got to be, it's a custodial. And in all seriousness, as I said, someone that has the time. I mean, you can't, especially when it comes to reviewing the applications, and being a vote to come up with all the semifinalists, and you got to be there for both sets of interviews, otherwise it doesn't work, that type of deal. So that's the key, is somebody understanding the commitment that's going to be there. So, all right, so do you want to, does 5 o'clock on the 2nd of February via Zoom work for a majority of us?
What's the date again?
February 2nd.
And if it's at 5, I probably could log in, so.
Does
that's
that
good.
work for you,
Yeah.
ma'am?
I don't think I need to be there.
Well, somebody's got to set the Zoom link up.
Oh, we can do that, no
Okay,
problem. no
thanks.
problem.
And you're going to
We
trust
can
me
s-
with it?
No, no.
No.
I can set it up.
We
if
can
Yeah,
you
no,
need
Yeah.
Dr. Gifford will set it up.
It'll get set up.
to. 5 on the 2nd, I can Zoom.
Okay,
Yep.
you can do that, all right. Let me do this.
5 o'clock,
Yeah, I just want,
no problem.
And Dr. Gifford, maybe I should like ask John,
Yeah.
Mr. Nunes. So at what date do we want these letters again from parents? Are we saying by by
January 31st.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. Okay.
January 31st, the close of business. Bush Street closes at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
So if you're responding by mail or email, it's got to be in by 4 o'clock.
Okay, and just for people's just knowledge, they should email Ms. Genther.
Yeah, email Ms.
Okay,
Gunther,
yeah,
yes.
Okay, and thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay. All right, and the last one was the retired administrator that we changed to a TA, maintenance custodian, secretary, food service. So, Dr. Jenkins.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Trudy Santos to that
Yep.
position.
I'll second that.
Okay, so actually Kathleen beat you to it. So we have, so we got a motion by Dr. Jenkins to appoint Trudy Santos, a TA at the Quinn, as in that category. Second by Ms. Amaral. Any other comments, questions? All right, Chair hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you to everyone who applied. It is appreciated more than you will know.
Kate, let those folks know.
Yeah. Kate, if you'd let everyone know, I mean, I know some are here, but if you just sent out the general email to everybody tomorrow, that type of deal, that'd be fine.
And also, Mr. Chair, just thank you to all of those who submitted a letter of interest.
Absolutely.
We certainly appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. All right. Pupil-supported service administrator. Okay. Okay. And I will, oh, here we go, I do have it. Okay. The email that I have from, again, from Ms. Gunther, goes back to 2014, was, okay, time out, let me take a step back. Do we want to talk about this? Do we want to get this committee formed? I mean, we don't have any dates at the moment. The request, the job,
It was posted.
it is posted type of deal, so we've got, what's the closing date on that, ma'am?
February 3rd. February 3rd, I believe.
February 3rd, okay. So, yeah, these two.
Was there a date tied to letters of interest to be on the committee as well with this one? There was.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're going to get any more.
Right.
Yeah, I got them all. Yeah,
You got
Shall we
quite a few.
continue with
we
the
got,
heavy lifting?
we got quite a few.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kathleen.
And if it is keeping me from being on, I understand, but I had submitted interest, but not again after, so I may not be selected, I understand that, but my misunderstanding, if that's because I don't see my,
Look at the name I have from the last meeting.
thank you.
Okay,
Plus, I'll note we only have one other school committee member who put his name in, so.
yeah,
Yes. I saw your name, I thought, oh goodness, E.
yeah, I know, I
I
put it
didn't
in, yeah.
redo it.
That's okay. Seriously, the makeup from the spring of 2014 was 2 school committee members, 1 CPAC rep/parent, 1 parent of a special needs student, 1 central office administrator, 1 high school administrator, 1 middle school administrator, 1 elementary school administrator, 1 psychologist/SPED team facilitator, 1 SOP, and 1 SPED teacher, which by my count is 11. So, how do you want to do this? You want to discuss this tonight? You want to, what do you want to do? Open.
If it has a February 3rd deadline, so I mean, I think maybe we could go, I would say we should probably go ahead and do this.
That's fine, I'm good.
So I'll start. Can I nominate Mr. Nunes and Ms. Amaral to be the school committee members?
I'll second
I will
that.
second it.
Wait a minute, do I have a say in this? Okay, where the heck am I? Okay, so myself and Ms. Amaral have been nominated. Any others? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. One CPAC representative / parent.
I didn't see one of those.
I
no.
do not see, no disrespect. if I'm-
Either of the next two, I don't see any parents.
No, I don't either. So again, maybe that's something that Ms. Townsend and Ms. Joplin.
You can also reach out to CPAC
reach
for
out
this one too.
through- To the CPAC group to see what we can get,
Yeah.
type of deal. Again, use the same January 31st, close of
Yeah, we
business
can talk
January
at it on the
34th
second.
first, and we can take care of them
Yeah.
on the 2nd,
That's fine.
That's good.
okay? Okay. Central Office Administrator,
Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate Mr. Tebow to be the central office representative.
yep,
Second.
If I'm reading properly, that's
The only
what's
one.
that?
the one, that's the only one we have, if
Only
I'm
one that
reading
applied, yeah.
properly.
Yep. So, motion for Mr. Tebow. Any others? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ross. One high school administrator. I see Mr. Martin. That's it.
I'd like to make a motion that we have Michael Martin on the committee.
I'll second.
Yeah. Where the heck is my list? So we have a high school. All right, so we have a motion for Mr. Martin. Any others? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay, middle school administrator. We have,
I saw.
I'd
we
like
have
to-
Mark Hayes.
Can I make a motion to appoint Mr. Hayes?
I'll
Yes,
second that. I was gonna
Okay.
suggest that.
So we have a motion by Dr. Jenkins, second by Ms. Waite for Mark Hayes. On the motion, any discussion?
Nope, that's great.
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Elementary school administrator. I had one. Yeah,
Yep,
we-
I'd,
I got
three.
Adam, we've got Adam Hill,
Ms. Thomas?
and we have Audra Thomas and Ms. Y. I will not attempt,
I'd like to make a
Steph.
motion that we nominate Audra Thomas as
Second.
our
I was gonna second that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
elementary school administrator.
yeah.
Adam's background is instead.
It's all right, he can stick his nose in. All right, so. All right, so we have a motion for Audra Thomas,
Yep, and a second. Let me just-
A second.
second. On the motion, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Psychologist, SPED team facilitator.
I'd like to make a motion that we nominate Caitlin Colbeck, who is a school psychologist.
DHS Potter.
Second that.
Sorry.
Okay, so we, excuse me, we have a motion for Caitlin Colbeck as the psychologist SPED team facilitator. On the motion, any discussion?
Nope.
None? Yeah, we got a motion in a second, am I correct?
Yes.
I'm ahead.
Ms. Amaral seconded
Yeah,
Mr.
thank you.
I made the motion.
Oliver.
I apologize, I'm losing track here.
It's all right.
That's all right, high and quick. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right. SLP.
Make a motion that we nominate Sandra Halpern-Raposa to the
Sorry.
committee
Sandra Rapo?
I'll second that.
for SLP.
I think I saw another page. I saw a Sandra. No, did I?
Yes, Alabama Raposa.
Mhm.
Faculty speak language, okay. I got stuff on 2 pages, I apologize. All right, so we have that. That's the SLP. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And 1 sped teacher.
I'd like to make a motion that we nominate Stephanie Mello for that position.
I second that.
Good choice, good choice. Yep. All right. Okay, so we have a motion for Stephanie Mello from Quinn, special, as the sped teacher. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everyone who participated and sent in your requests. It is greatly appreciated, the interest in the district. Ms. Gunther, will you make it in the next couple of days to notify those people, please? Thank you. Kathleen, will you get to CPAC to?
Absolutely. Send
get
in some letters. Yep.
get something
Anybody
out?
interested, yep.
Yep,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Ooh. All right, next, finally. Capital Improvement Plan, draft. Mr. Kiley.
Thank you, Mr. Noon. So, based on your feedback from the last meeting, the major revision to the capital improvement plan is to add a new or renovated school or schools to the plan. It was added in 2028. I put it in at a cost of $100 million. Now,
Not 400 million.
right, not 400 million, as was reported in some local media.
Talk about the Taj Mahal.
Right, right. So the 2017 Facilities Master Plan noted some options, and it talked about renovations and additions to several schools as options. The range of options was between 54 million and 83 million in that plan. Now, in today's dollars, probably the 54 million from 2017 is the $100 million today. That's just the reality of things. So we put that in there. There's certainly some more analysis that will need to be done to determine what's best for kids and what projects we can identify that would make the most difference for the district moving forward. So that would have to be done, but we did hear what you said and certainly want to begin that process, looking at our options and trying to identify a project. I was approached following our meeting by a member of the select board who was very supportive of the idea of thinking about big picture planning in town. And I told him I'm absolutely on board with that. So if we can be a part of a town-wide process where that takes place, I certainly want to be involved in that. You know, obviously there'll be opportunities for school committee involvement as well. So, so that was the major change to the plan. I will note that we were talking about you know, music instruments earlier. Well, there is a music instrument request on this, as we talked about two weeks ago. So there's some great projects on there, some that are really desperately needed. So I'd be happy to revisit any of those if you'd like, or answer any questions you might have.
That's the vehicle, okay. I'm sorry.
Just very quickly, once we approve this, Mr. Kiley, when do you typically present this to the Capital Improvement Committee?
It's really up to their schedule, and I'm not quite sure how they are scheduling meetings yet this year. Normally, we would be meeting right around this time of year with them. I have a feeling that might be a little later.
Okay. I would just ask, and if it's all right with the committee, I would like to attend that.
Of course.
And share some of our sentiments, and feel free if anyone wants to join.
Yeah, I
me.
usually, I find out far enough in advance.
I
You know, unfortunately, sometimes, I get an email at 5 minutes of 4, yes, I'm meeting at 9 o'clock
Right.
tomorrow morning. It's,
Right.
That type of deal. So, yeah, no, I agree. I like to go in and see what else is going on there, too.
I'll make a motion that we approve the FY '24 capital improvement plan as stated.
Second.
So we get a motion by Mr. Oliver, a second by Ms. Amaral to approve the FY '24 to '28 capital improvement plan. On the motion, any discussion?
That's good.
All in
Thank you.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Kiley.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Pick my battles. Okay. FY '23-24 school calendar. Dr. Gifford?
Sure, thank you. We did make the changes that you suggested last meeting, including, we kept the 4-day weekend for Labor Day weekend. We added the 22nd of November as a Thanksgiving, part of the Thanksgiving recess. And also in December, we moved that parent conference. As you can see, one is on a Monday and one will be on the Wednesday.
That's great.
So those are the changes we've made.
Okay. Questions, comments?
Do we need to make a motion to accept the
Yep.
23-24 school calendar as presented? I'll do that.
A second.
By Dr. Jenkins,
Second.
second by Ms. Amaral.
Good.
Okay, so that just means the high school has to move all their day before Thanksgiving things to 2
Tuesday.
days before.
Before.
The day before Thanksgiving Eve day.
Yeah.
Type of
I
deal.
think they're okay with that.
What's that?
I think they'll probably be okay with that.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. That'll work out fine, no problem.
Plenty of notice.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. You can smile, Ms. Viera, you got Friday off. You got the Friday off. Mm. All right, new business. 2022 annual report. Dr. Gifford, Mr.
Sure,
Kindly?
so I hope you had time to read through it. It is quite lengthy, or you will read through it,
54
but we
pages.
just,
Verbatim.
yeah. And once again, thank you to the schools for providing the information, as well as our curriculum leaders and everybody that participated in submitting information on that report. So we would ask for your vote of approval for that before we forward to the town hall.
Comments, questions? Dr. Jenkins?
I have a question. This might be for Mr. Kiley, and it's about the trust funds. And so I noticed some of those trust funds don't have any expenditures, and I will note that one of them is
I noticed that.
to be used to promote music in the Dartmouth schools. And I don't wonder, have we considered tapping any of that to support, some of the expenditures? I'm not saying we shouldn't ask the town, but at the same point in time, it's often good when we can say, look, we're going to also chip in some money. But I don't wonder whether it might not be a bad idea for us to look at using some of that, if that's what that fund is intended to use.
It is what it's intended for, and it certainly could be utilized in that capacity. We've been fortunate to be able to support some of the music purchases in the last few years with either end-of-year monies or planned purchases. So we have not utilized that money for that purpose, but we certainly could.
And that has been tapped over the years.
Yes.
Yeah, it
Not
just-
recently, but.
Yeah.
Right, but since we just had a
Yeah.
presentation
the
about
pandemic.
need, and there's
Yeah.
a source of money, I just thought,
Those
hey,
keyboards.
Yeah.
maybe we could give, Mr. Flint some
Buy a
money.
keyboard,
Just saying.
whatever that is. Yeah, that
Yeah, okay, yeah.
See, Ian, it pays off to present.
That's right.
That was the shortest, right?
Oh, he's coming back, you're coming back the 13th for more? Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the annual report.
I'll second that.
We have Motion by Dr. Jenkins, second by Mr. Oliver to approve the annual report, I'll just say it was very well done. You know, getting all,
Yep.
looking at, and again,
Yeah.
with Mr. Kiley, all the financial, what's there. and
That's a bear to do.
Yep.
It's got to be a bear.
Have fun, no doubt about it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, superintendent's update.
I'm going to fly through all
There
this.
you go.
So okay, so a bunch of things that are happening. One, Quinn is celebrating Great Kindness Challenge, and students are participating in the activities all week long. And next Friday, a big celebration for 100th day of school. At Cushman, they held a Special Olympics Young Athletes Day. You may have seen on Justine's newsletter, if you ever get that, some pictures of that. Mr. Capello, Ms. Paveo, Ms. Phillips, the Officer Amanda, and other officers came as a unified team, and with students from the high school, and they worked with the preschool students. So we want to thank all of those that participated in that. Speaking of Cushman, we get tired of saying it a little bit, but they received another $6,500 award from the Feinstein Group. I don't know how much money is in that foundation, but it seems to be endless at this point.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I know, it's great.
you.
Justine's been doing a nice job of outfitting some, with new things at the playground, some tactile sandbox kinds of things like that. So anyway, DeMello had a Mad Scientist Day today, and the students were entertained with a science program called Fire and Ice. The programs were paid for by the PTO. Part of their fundraiser last year. They raised $6,000. So those are the kinds of things that can be done with that. And every Friday, they wanted me to report that they're holding some STEM classes in the cafeteria where students are collaborating on STEM challenges. And Liz Voce, the tech person over there, is running some of those. And on Friday, it'll be World Reading Day with virtual children's author visits at the school, and also they are bringing back the New Bedford Symphony Orchestra. I attended one a couple months ago where they come and it was fabulous. It was just people, and they're playing music, entertaining, but also talking about math within the music. It was fabulous. So they're doing that again with grades 3 and 4. And they're also doing 5th grade student council is running food drive for the Council on Aging. And at the high school level, we received from the college board's AP Computer Science Female Diversity Award for expanding young women's access to AP Computer Science principles. And the award acknowledges 1,105 schools for their work toward equal gender representation during the 21-22 school year, and we were one of 832 schools to be recognized for achieving this result. And as you know, we've had an emphasis on expanding our computer science program, so this was very good to get more young ladies involved in that. Also, across the district, school-based teams, we brought the Portrait of a Learner work to the school base, and we were very appreciative of everybody's work on that. And we had another successful PD day, and so I want to thank everyone, including our directors, our special ed department, for planning and securing speakers, our staff who presented. Oftentimes our teachers will present, and as well as the tech department for running around school to school to ensure the technology was working for these presentations. So that's it in a nutshell. Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
I just had one update. The district is currently as part of the tiered focused monitoring, which Ms. Townsend talked about, reached out to. Part of that process is conversation with myself as put my CPAC chair hat on, and we have a parent orientation, which is part of this process. Where DESE has, we have scheduled with the Office of Monitoring, whatever it is, a person is going to be hosting a parent orientation via Zoom on February 7th, and the link for that is accessible on the Dartmouth CPAC Facebook page, and it may also be on a flyer in our weekly electronic backpack. I believe I did that, and basically we hope to engage parents of students on IEPs in the district to be part of this orientation where they're just going to, review basically the policies, the procedures, and related to special education. And so we hope to have a good turnout for that. And again, it's February 7th, 6 p.m., just for a half hour, online via Zoom if parents and any interested parties. So the CPAC is for parents, staff, interested parties, to just, tune in to that for that half hour to engage in that way. That would be great.
Beautiful. Anybody else? Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just a quick question. I'm just trying to understand, it came to me from social media, the hanging of the banner in the gymnasium. I'm just wondering how that came about, the hanging of the Dartmouth Indian banner in the gymnasium.
That was something that has been discussed for a while in this process going on, and we left it to Mr. Pereira. Mr. Pereira, thank you. Chris Pereira and Mr. Christofoli to, once it was ready, to come up with a date to have it displayed in the gym, that type of deal. So that is something that has been talked about.
Yeah, I was, obviously been involved with the plaques and all that, but for some reason the banner just doesn't seem to ring a bell with that. And I just say that because, as we all know, and we just recently dedicated our gymnasium. Is that
Coach Gaspar?
Yeah, Coach Gaspar. That was one of the things that was my understanding that was always big to him, was that there would never be any banners hanging from the rafters. I've heard that from several people. So, I'm just throwing that out there. I just wish we would have had a little more conversation about this, because it's obviously with the media, it's just opening up another political divide. That being said, I think that's one of your terms, Mr. Nunes, that being said. It is what it is. I just wish that at least the committee was briefed a little bit more about it, because I was taken back a little bit about seeing it in the media.
Yeah, no, that's, again, as I said, that is something that has been in the works for a long time, in all the conversations that were going on. Was, the plaque here.
Yeah.
The plaque here, the plaque at the football stadium, at Memorial Stadium. I believe there's individual plaques in the schools type of deal.
Yeah, there are, and
that was
tastefully done. I have no.
And that was all part of the thing.
All right, the banner just doesn't seem to ring a bell with me, but that's, it could be my ADD.
Yeah, it's an AGE factor.
Yes. On another note, it looks like our next regularly scheduled meeting is February 13th. Is that correct? Yep. And that is our only meeting?
In February,
February. Yes. I don't know what the committee's thoughts are on this, but that being, seemingly being Dr. Gifford's last school committee meeting, I thought maybe it would be nice to have a small reception before.
I thought you were going to say, give me the day off.
No, I'm not going there.
You can have March 1st off.
That's right, March 1st.
March 1st.
Maybe a small reception. Maybe Mrs. Sheraton could put something together, Mr. Kiley. We could invite some town officials. Dr. Gifford has been here for almost 8 years.
Yeah.
8th year.
Yeah.
So we've had our ups and downs. So we've had our disagreements, but overall, I think the district is in a better place, and I think it would be nice that we look to just do a small recognition for Dr. Gifford prior to that meeting. If
We could do it after.
That's a nice.
or we could do it after.
Providing we have a brief agenda, which unfortunately is not happening so lately. So,
Agreed. So I just.
That's great, yes.
No,
Yes.
that'll,
nice idea.
we'll work on that.
Thank you.
That's fine. A couple of things that I have in the Standard Times yesterday. They've started coming out with their top fall athletes for the different sports, and they had the volleyball, and we had the privilege of having the top volleyball, the all-star type of deal. Plus, we also had several other players as all-stars and/or honorable mentions, so congratulations to them. That's coming out. And again, I don't know if you've been, following the fall sports, the teams that can compete in fall tournaments and everything else are so far having a wonderful season and moving right along. So, we're in pretty good shape for that. Or I know our track team is got some students that have, individually, more so team-wise, but also individually doing well. So we wish them good luck as they continue on. We'll see what February 13th being. Anybody else with anything? No? All right. That being said, our next meeting, as Mr. Oliver said, is going to be February 13th. We are going to have a brief Zoom meeting on February 2nd at 5 o'clock for the purpose of getting the parents for both search committee, hopefully parents for both search committees. If not, we'll just go with what we have. Simple as that. That being said, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session for the purposes of negotiations with union and non-union personnel and a pending legal matter, and not return to open session.
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Jenkins. Second by Ms. Waite. On the motion, any discussion? Chair hearing none. Roll call. Oh, before I do that, Phoenix, I hope you enjoyed your meeting. You found it.
I hope you come back.
Come back and hope it was, hope it was informative.
It was quite informative, yes.
Very good.
Okay, thank you, Ken.
Thank you. I apologize. Ms. Gunther, roll call, please.
Nunes,
Yes.
Mary Waite.
Yes.
Kathleen Amaral.
Yes.
Shannon Jenkins.
Yes.
Chris Oliver.
Yes.
Thank you very much, everyone, and have a good evening.